kicked out by my mother after I stopped being my sister's walking ATM. 3 weeks later, she came begging. It was time to throw her words back. Tell your golden child to handle her own life. Before the story begins, please write in the comments where you're watching from. Don't forget to like and subscribe so Stories with Meaning can continue to grow and bring you even more powerful stories. Emily stared at her reflection in the office restroom mirror. The dark circles under her eyes mocked the thin layer of makeup trying to hide them. The wall clock showed it was already late at night, and most employees on the 12th floor of the downtown skyscraper had gone home. But for Emily, returning to her cramped studio apartment wasn't a comforting escape. It was only a pause before another obligation called her name. Her phone vibrated on the sink. Mom. Emily's heart started pounding, not from affection, but from a reflexive anxiety trained over years. "Hi, Mom," Emily said, forcing a cheerful tone. "Emily, you haven't transferred the money yet, have you? It's already the 25th, her mother snapped, without greeting her, without asking how she was. Emily exhaled silently. "Yes, Mom, I'm just heading home. I'll transfer it when I get to my apartment. Same as usual, $1,000. There was a pause. Emily knew that pause well. It always came before an extra demand. "Well, Emily, I need more this month. Your sister Lily has been complaining non-stop. She says she can't focus on her thesis because her room feels cramped. She wants it renovated, soundproofing, a new AC so it's cool like a cafe, and she wants one of those ergonomic gaming desks so her back won't hurt." Emily pinched the bridge of her nose. "Mom, Lily's only in her 4th semester. What thesis? And her room already has an AC. It was replaced last year." "Well, she's a girl, Emily. Don't be stingy with your own sister. She's the family's investment, the future heir of the family. If she succeeds, you'll be proud too. I need an additional $2,000, so transfer $3,000 total." The number rang loudly in Emily's ears. Her salary as a marketing manager in New York City was decent, but living expenses were brutal, and this month was the final deadline to pay for her international professional certification, something she had dreamed of for 2 years. That certification was her golden ticket, promotion, and maybe one day working abroad. "Mom, I can't this month. I have to pay for my certification exam. It's $2,000. I've been saving for 6 months. Her voice trembled. Her mother's tone turned icy. "Certification? For what? Your salary is already high. You're a woman, Emily. No matter how educated you are, you'll end up in the kitchen. Lily is different. She'll be the head of a family someday. You're choosing a piece of paper over your sister's comfort?" "This isn't just paper, Mom. This is my future." "Oh, please, just admit you love money too much. If Lily drops out because her room is uncomfortable, it's your fault. I want the transfer tomorrow morning." The call ended. Emily stared at her dark phone screen. The exhaustion that had been physical now sank deep into her bones. After her father died 5 years ago, Emily automatically became the breadwinner. At first, she did it willingly. But over time, she realized she wasn't a backbone, she was a cash cow. That night, Emily didn't transfer the money. She sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her certification books stacked neatly on the desk. Am I selfish? Is wanting something for myself a sin? The next day was Saturday, normally her rest day, but her mother's messages kept flooding her phone. Finally, with a heavy heart, Emily went back to her mother's house in the suburbs of New Jersey. She wanted to talk face to face. She wanted her mother to understand that she couldn't keep sacrificing herself forever. The smell of beef stew, Lily's favorite, filled the house. Emily entered, and saw Lily sprawled on the couch seat on the table, laughing at her phone. "Oh, Emily's here," Lily muttered without looking down. "Did the renovation money come through yet?" Emily ignored her and went to the kitchen. "Mom, we need to talk." Her mother turned, a thin smile on her lips, sharp eyes measuring her. "Good. Did you bring the money in cash or did you transfer it?" "I can't give you the $2,000, Mom. I only transferred the regular $1,000. My savings are non-negotiable. That's my future." Her mother slammed the ladle onto the counter. Lily wandered in lazily. "What's going on?" Lily scoffed. "Oh, Emily's being cheap again, right?" Her mother sneered. "Your sister thinks she's rich now. She's forgotten who prays for her success every night." "Mom, $2,000 isn't a small amount, and this isn't urgent. This is just Lily's lifestyle upgrade." "Watch your mouth," her mother shouted. "Your sister is the family's pride. As the older daughter, your duty is to serve the family." "Serving doesn't mean being enslaved. I work overtime. I eat cheap. I never buy new clothes just to send money here. And the one time I need something for myself, you attack me? When do I matter, Mom? When do you ever ask if I'm tired?" Her mother stepped forward, pointing at her face. "If you feel burdened by taking care of us, then leave. Take your precious money and go. I don't need money from an ungrateful child." Lily laughed mockingly. "Let her go, Mom. She'll come crawling back anyway, begging. She has no one else." That was the moment something broke. "Fine," she whispered, wiping her tears. "If that's what you want, I'll go." "If you walk out without leaving money for Lily, don't ever call yourself my daughter again," her mother screamed. She didn't stop. She grabbed her bag, started her scooter, and sped off under the blazing afternoon sun. That night, Emily sat alone in her dark apartment. She didn't eat. Her phone buzzed. "You ungrateful child, don't ever call or step foot in my house again. I don't want a stingy daughter like you. Take care of your own life." She read the message again and again. It hurt, but slowly the pain transformed. Take care of your own life. At first, it sounded like a curse. Then it became permission. Emily typed one word. "Okay." She muted her mother and Lily, not blocking them yet, but silencing their voices from her life. That night, for the first time in 5 years, Emily slept without worrying about bills or allowances. Days later, she checked her bank account. Her salary was still intact. Was this how much money I actually had when I stopped giving it away?
However, the guilt came in waves, rising and falling like the tide. Whenever Emily saw an elderly woman crossing the street, her thoughts drifted back to her mother. Does Mom have money for groceries? Did she cook today? The guilt whispered cruel lies, that she was a bad daughter, that she was letting her mother starve. To calm herself, Emily opened Instagram. She meant to check on her friends, but her fingers instinctively typed Lily's username. Emily froze. Lily's Instagram story, uploaded just 2 hours ago, filled the screen. There Lily was, posing at a luxury beach club in Miami, holding a cocktail against a golden sunset. The caption read, "Healing time, boss. School stress is killing me. Thanks, Mom, for the early birthday gift." Emily's blood boiled. So Mom did have money? Mom said she had nothing. She called Emily stingy. Yet somehow there was enough cash for a luxury vacation. Or worse, had her mother sold the gold jewelry Emily once bought for her? "Thanks, Mom," Emily muttered bitterly. "That was my money, Lily. The money I used to buy Mom's gold, now sold so you can party." The guilt that had haunted her evaporated instantly, replaced by pure disgust. All this time, Emily survived on instant noodles at the end of every month so Lily could live comfortably. And yet, to them, Emily was nothing more than a broken ATM, useful only when dispensing cash, disposable the moment she stopped. Emily shut Instagram forcefully. Enough, she thought. You told me to take care of my own life? Fine, I'll show you exactly how well I can do that. 3 weeks later. 3 weeks passed, long enough to build new habits. Without the financial burden of her family, Emily's life changed drastically. In the second week, she finally registered and paid in full for her professional certification exam. When she pressed confirm payment, a rush of satisfaction exploded in her chest. It was the first investment she had ever made purely for herself. In the third week, Emily did something she hadn't done in years. She went to the mall after work, not to buy errands for her mother, but for herself. She stepped into a high-end executive wear boutique. She touched the smooth fabric of a blazer, checked the price, still affordable with her untouched salary, and tried it on. In the mirror stood a different woman. The blazer fit her perfectly, wrapping her frame in authority and professionalism. The woman staring back wasn't the worn-out older sister anymore. She was Emily Williams, marketing manager. She bought the blazer. She also bought a premium skincare set, something she'd only ever watched in YouTube reviews. That night, Emily sat on her apartment balcony. She brewed an expensive herbal tea and inhaled its calming aroma. New York City buzzed below, but up there, she felt an unfamiliar peace. No harassing phone calls, no drama about utility bills, no complaints about Lily needing new shoes. Emily realized her mental health was improving. The migraines that used to strike weekly had vanished. She slept better. She focused more at work. Just yesterday, her boss had praised her for a sharp and insightful presentation. "So this is what it feels like," Emily whispered to the night air. "So this is how light life becomes when I stop carrying 2 grown adults on my back." She checked her phone. No messages from her mother, except one mistakenly sent group chat message from a family savings club. Emily smiled faintly. She knew this peace was temporary. The money from selling gold or Lily's vacation fund would eventually run out, and when it did, they would remember who their cash cow was. But Emily was not the same woman she was 3 weeks ago. Her phone wallpaper now showed herself, not a family photo like before. "Come," she murmured, eyes shining with determination. "You're the ones who told me to leave. Don't expect the door you slammed shut to open so easily." She sipped her tea. It tasted sweet as the freedom she had just begun to savor. She was ready. This time, she had built her fortress, and she wouldn't let anyone tear it down, not even her own mother. Meanwhile, back at her mother's house, while Emily rebuilt her life in peace, the atmosphere in her modest suburban home was the exact opposite. The house that once echoed with Lily's spoiled laughter and Mrs. Williams's endless complaints now felt like a pressure cooker about to explode. 3 weeks had passed since Emily was kicked out. At first, Mrs. Williams felt victorious. She was certain Emily, obedient, quiet, and alone, would come crawling back within 3 days. She had already imagined it. Emily would arrive with Lily's favorite food, kneel at her feet, apologize, and hand over a thick envelope of cash. Forgiveness would come with the condition that the monthly allowance increase. That would be her punishment. But 3 days passed, then a week. The phone stayed silent. No transfer notifications, no messages. Panic crept in slowly. The money from selling her last gold necklace was already gone, spent on Lily's healing trip. Last week, Lily returned home, glowing with a sunburned tan and an empty wallet. "Mom, got any cash for cigarettes?" Lily asked lazily, sprawled on the couch, eyes glued to her phone game. Mrs. Williams sighed heavily, counting coins in an old cookie jar. "I don't have cash, Lily. Grocery money will last 2 more days." Lily clicked her tongue. So stingy. She grabbed her motorcycle keys and left without answering where she was going. That night marked the beginning of hell. At 2 a.m., violent knocking jolted Mrs. Williams awake. Her heart nearly stopped. She peeked through the window. 2 large men in black leather jackets stood on the porch, faces cold and dangerous. Trembling, she opened the door slightly. "Is Lily home?" one of them asked gruffly. "Her online gambling and loan debts are overdue. Interest keeps running. If there's no update by tomorrow, we take the motorcycle. If not, we take valuables from this house." Her legs gave out. "How much?" she whispered. $2,000, principal plus interest. The man spat on the ground and left her collapsed in the doorway. An hour later, Lily snuck home, face pale and a bruise on her lip. "Lily," Mrs. Williams screamed hysterically, "what have you done? They came here for a $2,000 debt." Instead of remorse, Lily shoved her aside. "Stop yelling. Neighbors will hear." Her voice softened manipulatively. "Just call Emily, Mom. She won't let her sister get beaten by loan sharks, right? This is my life on the line." Mrs. Williams froze. Emily's face flashed before her. "Take care of your own life." The words she had sent 3 weeks ago now came back to haunt her. Her pride screamed in protest, but fear, for Lily and for her own comfort, was stronger. With trembling hands, she pressed the call button. Across the city, inside an elegant glass-walled conference room, Emily stood before a projector screen.
She was in the middle of presenting the marketing strategy for the next quarter to the board of directors and her team. Emily was at her best. Her new blazer gave her an extraordinary sense of confidence. Her voice was firm, her arguments sharp and well-structured. Her phone, placed face down on the conference table, vibrated for a long moment. Emily glanced at it briefly. Out of the corner of her eye, she caught the name Mom flashing on the screen before it went dark again. Her heart skipped a beat. Her body reacted instinctively, an urge to grab the phone immediately. What if something terrible happened? But the rational part of her mind, trained carefully over the past 3 weeks, took control. If it's important, she'll call again. If it's a medical emergency, an aunt or a neighbor would call, not Mom. Emily ignored the vibration and continued her presentation. So our main focus next month will be deeper digital market penetration. The phone vibrated again, then again, 3 times in a row. A colleague glanced at the phone, then looked at Emily questioningly. Emily gave a faint smile, turned the phone completely silent, and slipped it into her blazer pocket, choosing to be present in this moment, in her career, in her own life. An hour later, the meeting ended. The director shook Emily's hand, praising her noticeably improved performance. Emily walked out of the room smiling. She felt light. Back at her cubicle, she took out her phone. 15 missed calls from Mom. Her smile faded, replaced by a cold, knowing stare. 3 weeks of silence, then 15 calls in 1 hour. Emily knew this pattern. This wasn't longing. This wasn't regret. This was need. She didn't call back. Instead, she opened her messaging app. As expected, a flood of messages awaited her. 10:15 a.m. Mom, pick up the phone. 10:20 a.m. What are you so busy with that you can't answer your own mother? 10:30 a.m. Don't act all high and mighty now. 10:45 a.m. This is serious, emergency. 10:47 a.m. Do you want your sister to die in a stupid way? Emily raised an eyebrow at the last message. Die in a stupid way? What kind of drama was this now? If Lily had been in an accident, why phrase it like that? Emily decided to wait. She wouldn't ask why. She would let her mother explain. It was a negotiation tactic she'd learned in corporate life. Whoever speaks first is the one who needs more. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, when Emily's WhatsApp status showed online, a long message came in. A message that shattered the last remaining hope that her mother might miss her as a daughter. Emily read it while sipping an iced latte she'd just bought from the office cafe. The message was long, riddled with typos, clear signs of panic. "Emily, please help. Your sister Lily is in serious trouble. She got scammed. Now bad people are chasing her, demanding compensation of $2,000. They threatened to hurt her and seize our belongings. I'm scared, Emily. I sold the TV and whatever I could, but I only got $300. Please transfer the remaining $1,700 today. This is Lily's life on the line. Don't hold grudges against your own mother. What's past is past. Parents get emotional sometimes. Transfer it quickly. I'll send the account number. Poor Lily keeps shaking in fear." Emily read it twice. First, there was not a single sincere apology. The phrase, "parents get emotional sometimes," was a tired excuse used to justify the unforgivable act of disowning her own child. Second, Lily didn't experience a misfortune. Emily knew her sister too well. Scammed in Lily's dictionary usually meant losing money to online gambling or falling for a fake investment because of greed. Third, and the most painful part, her mother asked for $1,700 as if Emily kept that amount under her pillow, ready to hand over at any moment. Emily placed the phone on her desk, her chest tight, but not from sadness. She was holding back a bitter laugh. The audacity, the shamelessness. 3 weeks ago, this same woman had called her stingy, a burden, and told her never to step foot in the house again. Emily remembered Lily's mocking face, remembered her laughter when she was kicked out, remembered that Miami healing post. Your sister's life is on the line. If Emily sent the money now, Lily would never learn, her mother would never wake up, and Emily would return to being their cash cow, this time chained even tighter because they'd know fear still controlled her. No, Emily thought calmly. That cash cow died the moment you kicked her out. Her fingers moved across the screen. She didn't need time to think. These words had been waiting on the tip of her tongue for 3 weeks. She typed her reply calmly. No emotional explosion, only cold facts. Emily, "Good afternoon, Mom. Sorry, I'm at work. About Lily's problem, wasn't Lily the family's future heir you're so proud of, the one whose dignity must be protected? Why are you now asking help from the daughter who was told she belonged in the kitchen?" Emily paused, took a breath, then typed the final sentence, the one she had wanted to scream at them for years. "I'm currently busy saving for my own future. As you instructed, please tell your golden child to take care of her own life. Didn't you tell me to do the same?" Sent. Emily stared at the screen. The 2 gray check marks turned blue almost instantly. A strange feeling spread through her body. A trace of fear, a faint hint of guilt, but overwhelmingly relief. Like expelling poison she had swallowed for years. She had turned her mother's own words into a weapon. At her mother's house, the silence shattered. Mrs. Williams stared at the message, eyes wide, face flushed red, veins bulging at her neck. She couldn't believe it. She truly couldn't believe Emily dared to reply like that. "Ungrateful brat!" she screamed, throwing the phone on the couch. Lily, who had been cowering in fear, jumped up. "So, how much did she send?" "Transfer?" Mrs. Williams screeched. "Look at what your sister wrote! She's mocking us! She's mocking you!" Lily snatched the phone and read the message. Her face shifted from pale to red with rage. "Damn it! Just because she has money now, she thinks she's superior. She wants me dead, Mom. She enjoys seeing me chased by debt collectors." Mrs. Williams grabbed the phone back. Her humiliation transformed into blind fury.
her defense mechanism kicked in. When she was wrong but refused to admit it, she attacked harder. She pressed the voice message button. All strategy abandoned, all pleading masks torn away. Emily, who do you think you are talking to your own mother like that? You're an ungrateful child. I gave birth to you, raised you. Now your sister might die and you laugh? Remember, God's blessing lies in a parent's approval. If you don't help now, I curse your life to be miserable. Your money will be dirty money if you enjoy it while your mother starves. She sent the voice note, breathing heavily. Lily added fuel to the fire. Tell her, Mom, if she doesn't transfer, we'll report her to her company. Let everyone know their marketing manager is a heartless daughter. Consumed by panic and rage, Mrs. Williams typed another threat. If there's no transfer tonight, I'll come to your office. I'll scream there so everyone knows what kind of daughter you are, letting your sister get hunted by criminals. Don't test me. At the office, Emily listened to the voice note through her earphones. Her mother's screaming voice rang clearly, full of hatred. Then she read the written threat. Instead of trembling like she once would have, Emily smiled coldly. She took screenshots, saved the voice message into a secure cloud folder. Come, Mom, she whispered. Make a scene at my office. Let building security escort you out, and I'll have proof to file harassment charges. Emily realized something crucial. Her mother no longer saw her as a daughter. She saw her as an enemy guarding a vault. And in this war, Emily had something her mother and Lily didn't: independence and evidence. Emily didn't reply again. She temporarily blocked her mother's number, not to run, but to focus on work. She knew uncertainty would torture them far more than outright rejection. That evening, on her way home, Emily stopped by an electronics store. She bought a small CCTV camera that connected to her phone. She planned to install it outside her apartment door. She knew Lily, when cornered, was capable of desperate actions. This Cold War had turned into open conflict, and Emily had just won her first decisive battle.
The narrative her mother built was extraordinary. From a daughter who had been kicked out, Emily was suddenly recast as the daughter who kicked her mother out. "Aunt, you only listen to Mom's side of the story?" Emily asked calmly. "Of course," Aunt Rachel snapped. "She's my sister. A mother wouldn't lie. She said you're rich now, always showing off luxury shopping. But when your own mother asked for money just to eat, you refused? Remember, Emily, the punishment for a disobedient child is severe." Emily ended the call without another word. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from rage at how skillfully they were assassinating her character. Moments later, notifications from the Williams family group exploded on her phone. Uncle Brian: "Emily, be grateful. Your success comes from your parents' prayers. Don't forget where you came from." Aunt Sarah: "Poor Lily. Please help your sister." Great Aunt Doris: "Think about your mother, dear. Don't regret it when she's gone." Emily stared at the screen. She could leave the group, but that would let them believe they were right. She wouldn't run. She opened her gallery and selected 2 files she had prepared long ago. The first, screenshots of messages from her mother 3 weeks earlier. "Don't ever call me or step foot in this house again. I refuse to have a stingy child like you. Handle your own life." The second, a voice recording from yesterday. Her mother screaming, cursing, and wishing Emily's life would never be blessed, simply because Emily refused to hand her $1,500 to cover Lily's gambling debt. Emily sent both files to the family group. No long explanation, just one sentence. "Emily, before judging me, please listen and read carefully who actually kicked whom and what the money was really for. Lily wasn't scammed. She lost money gambling on slot machines. If you truly care about Lily, feel free to pay her debt yourselves." The group fell silent. Aunt Rachel, who had been the loudest, said nothing. Uncle Brian, suddenly wise no more, didn't reply again. The evidence was devastating. Her mother's harsh voice, filled with animalistic insults, shattered the image of the innocent, suffering parent they had carefully crafted. Emily smiled faintly, switched her phone to silent mode, and returned to her desk. The airstrike had been neutralized with a single lethal counterattack. 2 days after the family group incident, Emily finally felt some relief. The phone terror stopped. She forgot that desperation could drive people to reckless acts. At 11 a.m., as Emily prepared for a lunch meeting with a client, the office receptionist called her desk, voice trembling. "Miss Emily, I'm sorry to disturb you. There's a young woman in the lobby claiming to be your sister. She's shouting, demanding to see you. Security is holding her back, but she's causing a scene." Emily's face drained of color. Lily actually came and chose violence and public shaming? "Hold her there," Emily said firmly. "Don't let her upstairs. I'm coming down." She straightened her blazer, took a deep breath, and stepped into the elevator. "Don't cry. Don't look weak. This is your territory." The elevator doors opened. Chaos. "Call Emily. Tell her her sister's about to be killed. She's rich but stingy. Disobedient sister." Lily stood in the center of the luxurious lobby, restrained by 2 large security guards. Her hair was a mess, her clothes wrinkled, her eyes red and wild. She looked unhinged. Employees and visitors stopped to watch. Some were already recording. Emily walked forward, heels clicking rhythmically against the marble floor, slicing through the crowd. "Let her go," Emily said calmly to security. Lily's eyes lit up. "So you finally show up. You want me dead? Those people are waiting outside my house. Pay my debt now, or I'll keep screaming here until you get fired." Emily stopped 2 meters in front of her, staring with a coldness Lily had never seen before. No fear, no shame, just finality. "Mr. Daniels," Emily said to the head of security without breaking eye contact. "Yes, Miss Emily. This person is not my guest. She is harassing and attempting extortion. Please escort her out of the building. If she resists or returns, call the police for public disturbance and harassment." Lily's mouth fell open. "Are you crazy? I'm your sister." "My sister knows manners. My sister doesn't gamble. And my sister doesn't come to my workplace to extort money." She leaned in slightly. "Scream until you lose your voice. You won't get a single dollar. You picked the wrong opponent." Lily lunged forward, but the guards quickly restrained her and dragged her away. "Let me go! I'll tell Mom! You're a heartless traitor!" Lily screamed as she was hauled through the revolving doors, becoming a spectacle for nearby buildings and street vendors. Emily turned to the receptionists and onlookers, bowing slightly. "I apologize for the disturbance. That person is unstable and under emotional distress. Please return to work." She entered the elevator again, head held high. When the doors closed and she was alone, her legs finally weakened. She leaned against the metal wall, tears of fury pooling in her eyes. She wasn't ashamed of struggle or conflict. She was ashamed of sharing blood with a parasite. Emily didn't return to her desk. She pressed the button for the rooftop. She needed air. On the rooftop, the New York City wind whipped through her hair. She took out her phone and unblocked Lily's number, briefly. The call connected on the second ring. "What the hell was that? You humiliated me." "You humiliated yourself," Emily said coldly. "You came to my office screaming like a lunatic. Did you really think I'd panic and give you money just to shut you up? That trick is ancient." "I'm desperate, Emily. They brought knives. I could die." Lily's voice cracked into sobs. "Please, just once. I swear I'll stop gambling. I'll kneel. I'll kiss your feet." Emily stared at the gray sky.
Once, that crying would have shattered her. She used to give up her lunch money just to stop Lily from crying. Now it sounded fake, manipulative. "Listen carefully," Emily said firmly. "This is the last time we talk about this. You're 22. You chose to gamble. When you won, you showed off in Miami. You didn't remember me then. Now you lost and you want me to clean your mess. Mom told me to ask you, and that's the problem," Emily cut in. "You always hide behind Mom. You're never wrong. It's always someone else's responsibility. Today, right now, I'm breaking that chain. If those thugs come, face them. If Mom's motorcycle gets taken, let it go. That's the price of your stupidity. You're cruel. I'm cruel because I love myself. I loved you once. You crushed my dignity. Now learn to be an adult or collapse completely and rebuild from the ruins. Don't ever contact me about money again." Emily ended the call and blocked Lily's number permanently. Relief flooded her body. She had finally done what she should have done years ago, letting her sister fall so she could learn to stand. Helping Lily now would only kill her slowly by feeding her parasitic nature. 2 quiet days passed. Emily began to focus on work again. But in family drama, calm is always the warning before a storm. That afternoon, Aunt Rachel called again. Before that, a message appeared. "Pick up, Emily. This isn't about money. Your mother collapsed and is in the ER." Emily's defenses cracked. No matter how angry she was, that woman was still her mother. She answered with cold fingers. "Hello, Aunt. What happened to Mom?" "So you finally answer," Aunt Rachel said, panic laced with bitterness. "She had a mild heart attack. A debt collector came, banging at the gate, shouting for Lily. Your mother went into shock and collapsed. She's on oxygen now." Emily's heart sank. Guilt clawed its way back. Is this my fault? If I had paid the debt? No. Logic cut through the fog. This was Lily's fault. This was Mom's enabling. She was not responsible for criminals. "I'm coming," Emily said shortly. "Bring money," Aunt Rachel added. "She keeps calling your name." Emily ended the call. On the drive to the hospital, she battled herself. This is a guilt trap. Seeing a weak parent in a hospital bed was the ultimate weapon. "I'll go as a daughter," she whispered, "not as a cash machine." She locked her main credit card and future savings debit card in her car's dashboard. She only carried limited cash and one low-balance operational card. She wouldn't let emotions destroy her future again. The smell of disinfectant hit her as she entered New York City General Hospital. Her mother had been moved from the ER. In the corner bed, Mrs. Williams lay pale, IV in her hand. Beside her sat Lily. Emily's arrival instantly tightened the atmosphere in the hospital room. Lily looked up, her eyes shining with hope, not the warmth of longing, but the cold gleam of financial expectation. Emily stepped closer and respectfully kissed her mother's hand. It was cold. "Mom, Emily's here," she whispered. Mrs. Williams slowly opened her eyes. The moment she saw Emily, tears spilled from the corners of her wrinkled eyes. "Emily, you came, my dear." Her voice was hoarse and weak. "I thought you didn't consider me your mother anymore." Emily gently stroked her mother's forehead. "I'm still your daughter, Mom. I could never forget you." "My chest hurts, Emily. It's tight," Mrs. Williams whimpered. "Those bad people came earlier. They said they'd burn the house down. I was so scared." "Please rest, Mom," Emily said softly. "Don't think about anything right now. The doctor said you need to stay calm." Mrs. Williams suddenly gripped Emily's hand, tightly, far stronger than expected for someone who had just suffered a heart attack. "How can I be calm when your sister might be killed?" There it was. "Please, Emily," she pleaded, "just this once.
Pay Lily's debt so I can recover. Once it's paid off, I'll be healthy again." Emily froze. Even here, lying in a hospital bed with an IV in her arm, her mother's priority was still Lily's safety, not Emily's wounds. Her illness was real, but so was its use as leverage. Lily joined in immediately, voice trembling. "Emily, please, I'm too scared to go home. If something happens to me, Mom won't survive it." Aunt Rachel cleared her throat loudly. "Don't be so hard-hearted. Money can be earned. A mother's life and your sister's life can't be replaced. Do you want your mom to die worrying about unpaid debt?" Emily slowly released her mother's hand. She stood upright, looking at them one by one. "Mom," Emily said calmly but firmly, breaking the silence of the ward, "I came here to visit you. I've already paid all of your hospital bills. I've also deposited enough money to cover your medication and care until you fully recover. You'll receive the best treatment available." For a split second, Mrs. Williams and Lily's eyes lit up. "But," Emily continued, and the light vanished instantly, "I will not pay a single dollar of Lily's gambling debt." "What?" Lily shouted. "Are you insane? Mom's on her deathbed and you're still counting money?" Mrs. Williams tried to sit up, clutching her chest. "You're cruel. You want to kill me slowly." "If I pay, Lily will gamble again, and you'll be back here next month," Emily replied evenly. "This cycle will never end, Mom. You're sick because you're stressed over Lily's mistakes. The cure isn't my money, it's Lily stopping being a burden." Emily turned to Lily. "You're an adult. Face your problem. Sell your motorcycle, do odd jobs, construction, deliveries, anything. Pay your debt with your own sweat. Don't use Mom's illness as a shield to extort money from me." "You ungrateful child!" Mrs. Williams screamed hysterically. The heart monitor sped up. "Nurse, throw her out. I don't have a daughter like her." Emily bit back her tears. Her heart shattered, not because she was rejected, but because her mother chose to protect the child who ruined her life over the daughter who had just paid her hospital bills. "I understand, Mom," Emily said quietly. "The hospital fees are settled. I hope you recover soon." She turned and walked out without looking back. Behind her, she heard her mother crying and Lily cursing her name. When the ward door closed, Emily leaned briefly against the corridor wall, inhaling the sharp scent of antiseptic. Her chest ached, but her shoulders felt light. She had passed the hardest test of all. She had proven she could be a devoted daughter and a person with dignity. The boundary was drawn, in permanent ink. Emily walked toward the hospital lobby, out into the parking lot where the evening sky turned orange. She was alone, but no longer lonely. That night, after Emily left the hospital, the invisible shield that had protected Lily and Mrs. Williams finally collapsed. The debt deadline hit exactly at 11:59 p.m. Lily daren't go home. She hid in the hospital chapel, shaking, praying for a miracle. The sky remained silent. Miracles don't come for gamblers who refuse to repent. The next morning, Mrs. Williams was discharged, medically stable, though emotionally shattered. Aunt Rachel drove her home. Lily came along, curled up in the back seat, biting her nails until they bled. When they arrived, their worst fear had already come true. The front gate stood wide open. The padlock had been smashed. In the porch, 3 large men sat casually smoking. In the yard, Lily's beloved Renmax motorcycle, her symbol of status, was already loaded on a flatbed truck. "Hey, who are you?" Aunt Rachel shouted, forcing bravery. "Thieves?" One man stood, flicked away his cigarette, and smiled crookedly. "We're not thieves, ma'am. We're licensed debt collectors from the lending app your daughter borrowed from. We have an official seizure order." Mrs. Williams stumbled out of the car. "Please don't take my child's motorcycle. It's her only transportation." "Your daughter's debt totals $1,700, including late fees. This bike is worth about $1,200. We're still short $500.
His eyes scanned the porch. "We'll also be taking the sofa, refrigerator, and washing machine to cover the rest." "No!" Mrs. Williams screamed, spreading her arms in front of the door. "Those are my belongings. The debt is my child's. Why take my things?" The man glanced at Lily, who was hiding behind Aunt Rachel. "Ask your pride and joy." She listed this address and pledged all household contents as collateral. Her signature is right here. Mrs. Williams turned slowly toward Lily. Lily stared at the ground. The child she had defended all her life had quietly mortgaged her comfort for online slot machines. "Step aside, ma'am," the man warned, "or we'll call the police for obstructing asset seizure." Aunt Rachel pulled Mrs. Williams back as she collapsed on the sidewalk, Lily crying a sob. Neighbors gathered, whispering, "So arrogant before. Turns out her kid's a gambler. Poor woman. Isn't her daughter successful? Heard she was kicked out by her own mother." Each whisper stabbed deeper than any IV needle. By sunset, the house was empty. No motorcycle, no refrigerator, no sofa, no washing machine. Lily sat on the bare living room floor, crying like a child. "Mom," she whispered. Slap. A hard slap landed on Lily's cheek, not from a thug, but from her mother's trembling, wrinkled hand. "You pawned my life," Mrs. Williams hissed. "You were right, Emily. You're not an asset. You're a burden." Lily held her cheek in shock. For the first time in her life, her final shield was gone. 1 month later, the house had turned into a silent hell. Without a washing machine, Mrs. Williams, still recovering from her heart condition, washed clothes by hand. Her back hurt. Her breath often came short. Once, Emily had bought her an automatic washer. Once, Emily paid for part-time help. Once, Emily sent healthy meal deliveries. Now, there was only tofu, tempeh, and greens. "Lily, go buy rice," Mrs. Williams ordered one morning. "I'm embarrassed. The neighbors will laugh." Mrs. Williams slammed the laundry bucket. "You're embarrassed? I'm the one being shamed every day." That night, in the dark, silent house, Mrs. Williams sat alone on a plastic chair. She thought of Emily. At this hour, Emily used to call. "Mom, did you take your meds? I'll send dinner through delivery." Mrs. Williams missed more than the money. She missed the care. She finally understood. Emily had been the soul of this house. She opened her phone and unblocked Emily's number. Emily's profile photo showed her smiling brightly in front of the Eiffel Tower, Paris. Status: living the life I built myself. Mrs. Williams wanted to type, "Emily, I'm sorry," but pride and shame stopped her. From the other room, Lily slammed a door after losing a mobile game. Mrs. Williams cried silently. She had thrown away a diamond to protect gravel. Meanwhile, Emily's world was blooming. The Eiffel Tower photo was real, a business trip to Europe for a leadership program fully sponsored by her company. Back in New York City, more good news awaited. The director called her in. "Emily, your performance this quarter was exceptional, especially how you handled the client crisis last month. We've decided to promote you to senior marketing manager." He slid the letter across the desk. Salary increase, 40%. Company car, premium health insurance. Emily accepted it calmly. She had paid the highest price already. Everything after this was earned.
Emily received the letter with trembling hands, overwhelmed with emotion. "Thank you, sir. I won't disappoint you." "You deserve it, Emily," the director replied warmly. "I heard you're looking for a place to live." "Yes, sir. I'm planning to apply for a mortgage for a small apartment in the southern area, close to the office." "Good. Take care of your life. Enjoy the results of your hard work. You're still young." That evening, Emily celebrated her promotion with a simple dinner alongside Brian, an architect she had met a month earlier through a local running community. Brian was calm, independent, and deeply respectful of Emily. "Congratulations, Ms. Manager," Brian said, raising his glass of orange juice. "So, the dream home is happening?" Emily smiled, her eyes sparkling. I paid the down payment today. A small apartment, but cozy, and most importantly, 24-hour security. No one can just walk in. Brian nodded, knowingly. He was aware, at least in part, of Emily's complicated family background, and he never judged her. You're incredible, Em. Breaking the sandwich generation cycle on your own isn't easy. It feels strange, Bree, Emily admitted honestly. Sometimes I still feel guilty eating good food. Sometimes I still check my phone, afraid of threats. But every time I remember Mom's words, take care of your own life, Brian cut in with a smile. Yeah, back then it was a curse. Now it's your mantra. Emily laughed freely, light, unburdened laughter. That night, Emily signed the apartment mortgage agreement. The keys rested in her palm. The space was empty, but to Emily, it was a palace. She imagined painting the walls a warm cream color, buying a soft sofa just for herself to read books, and a clean kitchen where she would cook out of joy, not obligation. Emily had built a home in the truest sense, not merely a physical structure, but a sense of safety she had never received from her family. 3 months later, Emily was doing her monthly grocery shopping at a large supermarket near her office. She was selecting imported grapes when someone called her name hesitantly. Emily? She turned. Standing there was her mother. Mrs. Williams looked far older than her actual age. Her hair was almost completely white. Her clothes were worn, a faded batik house dress covered by a thin jacket. Beside her stood Lily, now working as a sales promotion staff. He was smoking in the supermarket parking area. His face looked dull, sunburned, and he avoided Emily's gaze. Apparently, Lily had been forced to work after failing to finish college. The only jobs that would take him were low-paying, physically demanding ones. Mom, Emily greeted politely, but did not step forward to hug her. The 2-meter distance between them felt like a canyon. How are you? Mrs. Williams asked shakily. You look fuller now. Beautiful. Her eyes drifted to Emily's grocery cart, filled with good food, meat, fruit, expensive milk. I'm healthy, Mom. Alhamdulillah, Emily replied calmly. How are you? Well, like this, her mother murmured, lowering her head. I've been sick. My medicine ran out. Lily's salary is small, barely enough for daily meals. There it was again, the familiar pattern. Complaints that always ended in a request. Emily, Lily finally spoke, awkward and uneasy. Can you share some money, just a little, for Mom's medicine? Her legs are swollen. Emily looked directly at him. You're working now, Lily. That's good, she said evenly. But your salary is already being cut to pay off your remaining debts. Of course it's not enough. Lily snapped defensively, then shrank under Emily's sharp gaze. Emily exhaled slowly. She took out her wallet. Mrs. Williams and Lily's eyes lit up at the sight of cards and cash. But Emily did not take out any money. Instead, she pulled out a piece of paper and a pen from her bag and wrote something down. This is the address of my office's partner clinic and pharmacy. Emily handed the paper to her mother. I've registered you under my additional health insurance. If you're sick, go there. It's free. The medicine is free, too. Everything will be billed directly to me. Mrs. Williams stared at the paper, confused. No cash at all, Emily? Just for emergencies? There is no cash, Mom. I will cover your health care only. Food, electricity, and Lily's cigarettes, that's Lily's responsibility as the man living in that house. She turned to Lily. Prove that you can take care of your mother. But Emily, don't you pity her? Mrs. Williams began to cry again, her old weapon. Emily smiled softly, a smile filled with maturity and resolve. I do pity you, Mom. That's why I'm giving you health insurance worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's my filial duty. But I won't give cash that will eventually be used by Lily to gamble again. Emily stepped forward and gently held her mother's shoulders, briefly. It was the first physical touch in a long time, and the last. "I've forgiven you, Mom, truly," Emily said quietly. "But I can't go back to being the daughter I used to be. I have my own life now. Take care of yourself." She nodded at Lily, then turned and pushed her grocery cart away. Emily," her mother called. Emily did not turn back. She walked straight toward the checkout counter. Her heart didn't hurt anymore. She realized she didn't hate them, but she also no longer needed their validation. She gave what was morally her responsibility, her parents' health, and she firmly closed the door to exploitation. That was Emily's greatest victory, being able to give without being destroyed. 1 year later, morning sunlight streamed onto the balcony of Emily's 18th floor apartment. On a small table, a cup of warm Arabica coffee steamed next to an open laptop. Emily sat cross-legged on a rattan chair, enjoying the view of New York City from above. She had just finished a video call with Brian, now officially her fiancé. They were planning a simple wedding next month. No debt, no pretension, only people who genuinely cared. She briefly opened her social media. A post from Aunt Rachel appeared, a family photo during a holiday gathering. In the corner of the picture, Mrs. Williams sat in a wheelchair, her face sour. Lily looked thin and worn, wearing a faded political campaign t-shirt, with no smile at all. The house behind them looked even more neglected. Emily felt no satisfaction of revenge. That feeling had long disappeared. What she felt instead was distant pity, like watching strangers on a news report. She closed the app and opened her work email. There was an invitation to speak at a women empowerment seminar with the topic Building Boundaries in Toxic Families. Emily smiled. She remembered her mother's words from over a year ago. "Don't call. Don't ever step foot in my house again. Take care of your own life." Back then, those words destroyed her world, made her feel discarded, worthless, and alone. But today, Emily understood. Those words were the greatest prayer her mother had ever spoken. Because she was cast out, Emily learned to walk. Because she was told to take care of herself, Emily became the master of her fate. Because she was abandoned, Emily found herself. She sipped her coffee, bitter yet leaving a sweet taste. Just like her life. She typed the title of her presentation on the laptop. "Thank you for kicking me out. How family rejection saved my future." Emily closed the laptop, stood up, and stretched her arms toward the morning breeze. She was free. She was whole. She was happy. And she had truly taken care of her own life. Exceptionally well.